I'm in Shenandoah National Park, and this is Booton's Gap, mile marker 55. Yep, there it is, my little red car. And this hike's going to be a little different. I'm going to hike down this old fire road for about a mile, and then I'm going to jump off and bushwhack to a set of coordinates that I have that is supposed to be the location of a boundary marker for the southern end of what's called the Fairfax Line. The Fairfax Line is the western boundary of a huge land grant that goes back into the 1600s. I'll explain it more when we do the map talk. But for now, I'm going to close up my car, get my stuff, and head on down that fire road. The elevation here is 3225. Seven-tenths of a mile into my hike, I'm down to 29:10, and I'm not down to the point that was agreed to as the headwaters, but here's some water right here coming down the side of the mountain. But now, you know, it's been raining the past few days, so it could have been when they surveyed this was dry up here. But these are really the headwaters. There's where I came from. Okay, and here's the headwaters continuing on down the side of the mountain. So I'm going down here around the bend a ways, and then I'm going to jump off and bushwhack. I'm heading this way. Eight-tenths of a mile into my hike, I'm down to 2860. That's where I came from. And actually, I went down here a little further. I was going to get off down there at the closest point to the coordinates, but instead I backtracked, because that's kind of steep down there. I backtracked over to here, and I'm going to work my way down and follow the headwaters from here down, and until I get down to the coordinates. Nine-tenths of a mile into my hike, I'm down to 2770. Been bushwhacking. Okay, there's the headwaters of the Conway River. Now, according to my GPS, I'm within about 70 feet of the marker, if it's still around. So right now I'm looking on the east side here. Now you'll notice over there's all kinds of trees blown down. So with my luck, it's been covered up by blown down trees. But I don't know which side it's on. So I'm going to look here on the east side, and then I'll cross over and look on the west side some. Okay, well, I looked on the east side over there and I really didn't see anything. I'm over here on the west side. Here's the channel right here, the headwaters. And I keep coming back to that rock right there. That rock is shaped differently than the other ones. That one is kind of thin and it's projecting straight up out of the ground. The picture I saw, but it could have been 10 years ago, it had a piece of surveyor's tape around it, but I don't see that. But that rock is different from the other rocks in the area. I mean, if you look at the rocks behind it, they're all smooth, they're not jagged. Same thing with this one here. So same thing with that rock right there. And according to my GPS, I'm within about, well, it's varying. My GPS accuracy is 21 feet. And it says I'm within about 30 feet of the coordinates. So I think what I'm going to do is stand next to it, average some coordinates, and then when I get home I'll compare those to the ones I have it from the report that I read. That could be it. I mean, it's better than 50-50 probability, because I mean, if you just look at that rock, it's different. And it's sticking straight up. It almost looks like in some of these old cemeteries you'll see headstones that way, although they're usually not quite that big. So that's probably it. And then from that point in a northwest direction, which is that way, they had to survey 77 miles over these mountains, over several mountain chains, to get up to the headwaters of the Potomac River. So I'm going to say that's probably it. Not 100% sure about that though. I'll look around a little more and see if I see anything else, but I keep coming back to that one. My GPS is telling me I'm real close, and that rock looks different than the other ones. Okay, well, I really don't see anything else other than that one right there straight ahead. I'm not 100% sure that's it though. There's no markings on anything. You'd have thought they might have marked a few trees and stuff around here, but no. But anyway, that's looking downstream. Just to give you, I'll do a 360 pan. This is pretty rugged terrain here to be doing a survey in. Up this hill is where I came from. Up that way is the fire road. These are the headwaters looking upstream. I may just go back. I may get back up on the road by just following these headwaters up to that bend in the road that I showed you earlier. And then back. So this is the area, and then like I said, they had to survey from either that rock or one close to it up in this direction to the northwest, 77 miles through these mountains. There's where I came from, climbing the mountain. And down that way is the headwaters of the Conway. And it flows out that way to the south. And I got a few more 100 feet to climb vertical here. This is a map of today's hike. The quadrangle name is Fletcher 1999. And this was a short hike. I wanted to see if I could find the headwaters of the Conway River, because the headwaters of the Conway River is the southern end of what's called the Fairfax Line. And that defines the western extent of the Fairfax Grant. Let me talk about that just real briefly. The Fairfax Grant was a large land grant from King Charles II. The grant was in 1649, and it was bounded on the north by the headwaters of the Potomac River, and on the south it was bounded by the headwaters of the Rappahannock River. Well, in modern day terminology, the Conway River is actually the headwaters up in the mountains of what is now Shenandoah National Park, and it flows into the Rapidan River, and then the Rapidan flows into the Rappahannock, and then the Rappahannock flows into the Chesapeake Bay. So the purpose of this hike was to locate the headwaters of the Conway. In 1746, there was a survey to try and determine where these headwaters actually were. So they located the headwaters, and then from that point they surveyed a line in the northwest direction about 76 miles up to the Potomac headwaters. And then that line represents the western extent of the Fairfax Grant. It's about 5 million acres. And if you're interested, here's the coordinates of the headwaters of the Potomac. And here's the coordinates I found in a hike today for the Conway. And this is very close to another study that was done back in 1999 by a David Lee Ingram of Ingram, Hagen and Company. They're land surveyors. And if you Google this online, this is about 13 or 14 pages that describes their 1999 survey of all this, and includes a bunch of coordinates also. So anyway, getting back to the hike, to get there, what I did was, this is Skyline Drive in Shenandoah National Park. And you come down to about mile marker 55, and there's a parking lot over here on the east side, and you can park there. And it provides access to the Appalachian Trail, and it also provides access to this chained off fire road, which is, they call the Conway River Fire Road. So I just basically hiked down this fire road about 3/4 of a mile. And when I got to here, it's a little hard to see on this map, but this is a valley running down through here. So this is actually the headwaters they were looking for. So the way they would have found this is they would have started down in the Rappahannock, hiked up the Rapidan, hiked up the Conway, hiked up this way and then taken this branch and followed it up until they ran out of water. And that would have been right up in here somewhere. So I hiked down to here. Now it's been raining here the past few days, so actually right here there's water right now. But I just continued on down here, and eventually I started bushwhacking down the side of the mountain here until I got to this spot right there. I looked around. I only found one fieldstone that looked like it might have been used to mark a survey, and I took a few pictures of it. I'm not 100% sure that that's the stone, but I took my GPS. I have a Garmin hiking GPS, and I put it on time average, and I averaged the coordinates of this point. And when I compared them to that David Lee Ingram study, my coordinates were the same as his to 4 decimal places. They only were different in the 5th decimal place. So the rock I show you in the video either is the one or it's very close to the correct one. There's the coordinates of Booton's Gap. Like I said, it's mile marker 55. And that was the hike for today.